because I didn't know we were going to be live.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It is the Professor Geek channel. I am Professor Geek. I was usually counting on Al to talk over my intro, but we got Fan Man going on there. So.
Still feels like old times, though.
It does. So I don't have the snazzy music though, and everything like that. So I guess it's there it is.
You asked for it, you got it.
Hi, it's the Fan Man, guesting tonight on Office Hours. That's it. That's where I just
and that, of course, welcome back to Office. It's what I call a very special episode of Office Hours. It's the show is no more, but we can come back for specials like this. I thought it was timely because when Office Hours went away,
it's kind of like the Incredible Hulk. It had the show, and then every now and then they had a special movie.
That's true. Well, let me welcome my guests here. Of course, everybody knows my trusty TA, Big Al. Say hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
And the intrepid fan man himself. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. It's old habit. It's when I hear my name, I have to play the theme there.
I should have said the Fan Man.
The show that once was, and it will not be again, even if some people, we won't name them, say things like, I bet it's the same show, but you're going to change the name. When is the show that's the same show coming back?
Sort of the same show, but you're just going to call it something else.
When is the Friday night show formerly known as Fan Man Tonight going to happen again?
Yeah, it's gonna be on the 19th of Février 19 for the en français. February 19th. Yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
Oh,
it's three. I lie. No, wait. Hang on, kids. Let me look at the calendar here. 3 weeks.
3, 2.
No, 2. I'm what they call a moron in French. Les morons.
I like your message the other day because, of course, what's been keeping Fan Man away is his daughter's schedules and everything. Running around with sports and all this kind of stuff. And you said the other night, like, why did they have more of a social life in like middle school than I had all throughout my high school career?
It's unbelievable. It's sad, really. Oh yeah, I mean, we were in Memphis. There was nothing I ever did as a kid that my parents were like, sure, we'll go to another state for it. Nope. But here we are. We went to Memphis. They're actually at another tournament, but my wife, the accountant, said, let's just go ahead and let's not all go this weekend since because of COVID. I don't know if y'all know there's a pandemic, it's called. And it turns out there aren't, I don't know. I don't want to make your show too edgy and hip like mine is, but there. It turns out not all rules, even though they're based in science, not all rules are the same for COVID. So you can send your kids to school.
Oh yeah,
be in an enclosed space for 8-9 hours, but you can't go to a gymnasium with less people wearing masks for less time. I don't understand it, so we're not allowed. So. My youngest daughter and I stayed home this weekend to save money, which is just, I'm not a fan of the people that make these rules.
Well, the government they're desperate to get students back in school because they're starting to realize, oh, wait a minute, we can't indoctrinate them if they're not in our public school system.
That's right.
Parents are starting to realize that they can actually buck up, be a parent, and homeschool. So
we can't have that. We can't have a generation of free thinkers.
I know. Got to program them.
And if it should happen later that we move on from this topic, just know I want to circle back. If we could circle back to this,
yeah, sure.
Have you not heard of the new White House press secretary's her penchant for that phrase?
Oh no, I haven't been paying attention.
Oh yeah, well, it's nothing to pay attention to. She's not a very good looking broad, but I'll say this: like, Kaylee McEnany, that was something. I got to be honest.
Oh my God! Is that the evil witch-looking woman I've seen?
Redheaded chick looks like she's teaching feminist studies over at the local college.
Oh,
she says "circle back" almost as frequently as Obama used to go. Let me. It's about that much. So and look, he's a national treasure. I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying he had that again kind of a tendency to do that, and she'll say, so people have put together the supercut of her saying circle back over and over again even in this same briefing. And one of my friends who's for some reason lost part of his mind and is now self-described leftist. Well, he calls himself a liberal. And I'm like, well, okay. He said, yeah, well, Kayleigh McEnany was just all she did was speak lies. I said, let's just be clear that I never once heard a word the woman said because she's smoking hot. And that's all that matters.
How is that for like, yeah, well, your person was a liar. Like, okay, schoolyard rules. What is
that's
this?
all you got for me? Did I mention smoking hot? Did I mention that she's a very attractive woman? Perhaps if I wasn't dating my wife, I'd be dating her. It's like, I'm sorry. She was just beautiful. And she still is, I'm sure. But I just didn't get she's very intelligent. She's a lawyer. I never got all the bad press. Anyway, this isn't the McLaughlin Hour. I'm sorry.
Fan Man's fan club is present. Daniel Heron, thank you, sir, for the $5.
Hey.
I guess he meant this for you, but I've got it now. He said, prayers have been answered. Fan Man returns to Friday night. Oh, wait, he's just guest starring. Oh, well.
It's coming back. This is all part of the multimedia blitz.
But didn't in like all the old sitcoms, wasn't the guest star the one that got the hugest reaction?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
Like last night, in fact, I was watching the Andy Griffith episode that had Don Rickles in it. And as much as I love the other two guys, Rickles is the man.
Yeah.
It was very fun to see him and Don Knotts together. But yeah, the guest star is where it's at. So look, it's all about Al. I don't know what I am. Al's the hero of the hour.
I'm Andy Griffith, and you guys are the Steve Urkels and the whatever. I can't think of another example.
I mean, look at our pictures. We got Mo, and then there's Curly, and then there's Larry.
Wait, I'm Larry or I'm Curly? Who am I?
I'm Curly. Well, I'm the one getting abused. Look.
Yeah.
That's the actual pose that it is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Up to be determined who's who, whatever. I don't care much. They're all stooges.
By the way, as soon as I type this up, you know how I work on my show, where I come up with an idea right as I'm talking. And so I have to look up images. As soon as I find one, I will show you that. I don't want people that are maybe there are people who've never listened to the show who don't know me. They've never heard of this guy. And they're like, who's this guy? I already don't like him. Maybe one of the reasons is they look at that avatar and they go, really? This guy? This fella? It's kind of weird. I don't want people to get that idea that this is what I look like. And so what it's just very important that people know is that I don't look like that anymore. I don't. So I just want you to know that. And there you have it. That's all I have for you.
It is a shame because you are known for your distinctive kind of Conan O'Brien type haircut. And I remember when you suddenly buzzed it down that one time, and I thought, and I even asked you, I was like, is that, what happened? I was like, thinking, so they got a slip of the wrist or something like that. And he was like, no, this is a look I go for sometimes. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go ahead and commission the art for it and everything. And now, of course, you're like, I don't look like that anymore.
It was like Fonzie burning his leather jacket.
It was rough. It was rough to take.
I'll give you this. This is kind of crazy to admit, but partially the reason I did it at that time, I had done it in the past. The reason I did it that time was because the Michael Myers mask that I had ordered was so small. Yeah. And I was so obsessed with wearing that damn thing for Halloween that year that I shaved my head to fit, and it still didn't. And I was able to get my money back. Here, though, you can share pictures, can't you? Dadgummit, I keep having to go get a hosted image. Can you? If
you share it to the stream, I'll put it on.
This here technology is confusing. So here we go. This is me. Now I've done a little work since then, and that's how I'm looking at it. So just no one that anybody that's like, what a jerk. Look how he looks terrible. This is how I am 2021. Okay. I've done a lot of work.
Why are you bathing in Dorito powder?
That was in the scene. Well, I'd actually just used a new creatine supplement that helped me to work out. It was given to me by a guy named Todd over at the local gym. His claim to fame is he loves reading, especially and only books that have sports and unlimited in the title. And so he let me have some creatine powder, and turns out you're supposed to snort it. I drank it with water. He's like, no, you snort that, so it goes right to the brain. I'm like, well, I enjoy my brain a little too much. So anyway, wow, a lot of offensiveness tonight. I've offended a lot of people.
Well, we are going to talk about news related items, but we're no rush. But the interesting thing is that this will actually kind of play into some of the things, but office hours kind of ended. It coincided with pretty much the decline of geek news. When the pandemic hit and everything like that, everything was put off or canceled and stuff like that.
Ouch.
And that was there wasn't a lot to talk about. Now that there's starting to be some things to talk about again, I did come back occasionally and I'd make a video and I would say this was one of the messages I had. I was like, look, folks, we've got this chance right now. Hollywood has been dealt a real blow. They suddenly they don't have all the power in the world. They don't just assume they can't just do anything they want. Theaters are closing down. They're having to release films to streaming service. We have the wonderful chance, I would say, and many times I say to speak out and not just let them have their power back, to say absolutely not. We're not just going to knee-jerk support anything you put out anymore. You have to listen to us now, and you have to start putting out content that we want. You don't get to tell us what you want us to want anymore. And we had that wonderful chance. And the thing about office hours is I was always here telling people to stand up or to speak out against this or that going on. And for a while there was nothing else. There's nothing really going on in the media. Well, now we're back doing office hours, and that coincides with the time in which that chance is gone, folks. That chance to tell Hollywood what you think and to take their power back, that's completely gone, because people have rolled right over. They've ran right up to the table, lapped up to it, panting all the way for whatever Hollywood decided to dish out the very second they started making content again. Whether it's The Mandalorian, whether it's WandaVision, whether it's anything, do not tell me with a straight flipping face how you don't like the Disney sequel trilogy or you weren't happy with Marvel's Endgame. If you're going to turn around and then turn around the next breath, tell me how, well, Mandalorian's the way to get it back. Oh, have you seen WandaVision? That's actually really good. It's all built on the same continuity. And with WandaVision, this garbage started with Spider-Man, what was it? Far From Home. Already, people, it was ridiculous the kind of excuses people who spoke out against the nonsense of Avengers Endgame were already trying to make these excuses so they could go support Far From Home. Well, it's the first time Mysterio's on screen, so I gotta go see that. It's not that bad. Stop it. It's built on the continuity of Marvel's Endgame. You are telling them with all of your little posts about WandaVision, and it's so great, and hey, but you know what? They're playing with the timey-wimey thing, and it might end up retconning. It's like, oh, where have we heard this before? Sources say there's a civil war at Disney, guys. This is going to be the one for sure. Stop it. It's the same. You see the same thing happening over and over again. People can't not participate. They can't not lap up anything they're served because they can't bear not to go join into the social media freak out about whatever new show. They've just got to be a part of it. So they're going to find all these excuses to go back on their words, which were saying, I'm done with this franchise. I'm done being slapped in the face by it. I'm done being betrayed by it. I didn't mean that to be quite a rant that it was, but that got all out there quickly.
Sometimes we just got to step away and let you go.
Thoughts?
Well, WandaVision's a really good show, and I am really enjoying it.
Expected.
I am. And you know me, I'm willing to give everything a chance. Was I happy with the way Endgame ended? No. I had a lot of issues with it, but I still am a man who wants to be entertained. And you've got some good actors and characters that I appreciate, and I want to see what they do with it. And if it's good or bad, and I'll judge that as it's happening. I compartmentalize. Is WandaVision? Oh, I'm sorry. Is WandaVision okay? Is WandaVision a good show? Yes. Am I enjoying it? Yes. Was Endgame, did it have an ending that had some issues? Yes, but it's not going to stop me from checking out other pieces of the universe and judging them for themselves.
This is what I was saying the other night to Al backstage alone. I was like, Al's kind of like an alien when it comes, for me anyway, when it comes to this conversation, because we are so fundamentally, so like Al's not one of the people I'm talking about when I say, don't tell me how you're fed up with Endgame or fed up with Disney Star Wars, because Al never was. I was like, oh, it's unfortunate that The Last Jedi did that, but it's, there's some good stuff too, Now I can't even fathom how Al comes to that opinion, but that makes me and him so fundamentally in disagreement on the foundation of the issue that we really can't even argue about it. We just kind of have to coexist.
And that's really it. I mean, I will say you are just wired differently than me, or you could say I'm wired differently than you, whichever you want to say. But yes, I remember, if those who were with us several years ago when The Last Jedi came out, and I caught so much doo-doo for having... And you know what? This is a special event. Let's bring it on again. I had the audacity to say I didn't think it was as bad as everyone seemed to think it was.
Oh, rest in peace.
Now, the thing is, I'm not saying it was a great film. I'm not even saying it was a good film. I'm just saying it wasn't a dumpster fire that everybody thought it was. Did they make some unfortunate story choices? Yes, but it was visually stunning. It was beautifully shot. There are some storylines that I gave a darn about to see how they played out. But yeah, I did like the decision what they did with Luke Skywalker, and I wanted to see what they did in Rise of Skywalker, which just okay, I'll give that one dumpster fire status, and not because, just because whoever whoever did the editing was terrible, because that thing was just like willy-nilly stuck together and they had no plan. But there's still some visually stunning aspects to it. Great space battle. I got my beloved Y-wing flying around in there. Some nice little Easter eggs of ships going on in there. You want to know how to catch flack? I don't mind Raylo.
Man, Al, I'm sitting over here trying to think.
Phrasing. Now listen to my phrasing.
How can I save you?
Listen to my phrasing. I don't mind it.
I don't mind.
I don't mind it. Basically, if I see them on screen, I don't want to put a gun in my mouth. And it just seems like a lot of people would do. And I'm like, oh, it's there. Whatever. And it doesn't affect it. I don't have a real emotional reaction to that a lot of people did. A lot of people were like ready to jump off a building.
I don't know if you caught my video the other day, but see, basically everything Al just said, that's why, like, I don't even know what to do with him, but he doesn't count as the people I'm talking about who you can't tell me how much you're against the sequel trilogy, because Al's not even that. But yeah, everything you just said, I don't know if you caught my video the other day where I mentioned the conversation Fanman and I had the other day, where Fanman mentioned, which I thought was such an appropriate, I'll let you explain it, Fanman, if you want, but he said, it's like people today, they're fans of the accidents and not the substance of these franchises. You want to explain what that means?
Absolutely. I would love to. That's one of my favorite topics in philosophy. The idea, very simply, kids, I've talked about it in my videos as well, is in philosophy, you have the idea of the substance of a thing. Without it, in philosophy, a lot of instructors, professors will call it the thingness, and it is the quality of whatever we're talking about, such that if it does not exist, if it's no longer present, if it's destroyed, or it simply isn't there, then that thing doesn't exist. So, for example, I use an automobile. which is a little more complex of an object. So let's use a ball. Well, the central idea of substance of a ball is that it's round. So if I have a ball and I somehow transform it and I take away its roundness, it's no longer a ball. Its ballness is gone. That's what she said. And who didn't know I was going to say that? But if I had a ball and I painted it blue and it was originally green, still a ball. And so to what degree you change that substance, you will still have the thing, and you can go variations on a theme, but as you go down gradations away from that, you risk with an adaptation, you risk really getting away from that thing. Example of getting away from it really, really far to where it's completely gone. It's substantially no longer the thing. Hobo of Steel, The Lost Jedi, and something where they changed a couple of things, but it was still substantially the same character. DC Rebirth, Superman Rebirth, Superman Reborn. The costume's different. They have a kid now. Still Superman. So the continuity had changed. Still, that was Superman. So that's what we're talking about, really, and it boils down to that. I think for some of us, and some of us go, well, I like I'm so focused on the accidents. The accidents are so cool now because they used to be this way and now they've been changed. For example, I know a lot of people enjoyed, let's say, they enjoyed that in, End Shame. They felt like maybe a certain character finally looked like they should have. Well, that's great, but was it still the character? No. Maybe. Nope. I'm just saying speculative. I'm not being specific. Just an example. So does it matter anymore would be the question. For example, in the Crisis crossover on the CW, the only good thing they've done since the first season of The Flash, you could say you had Brandon Routh as Superman. That was the most accurate comic book costume, and not only that, he was the iconic Superman. Even if he had a different costume, he'd still be iconic Superman. He'd still be substantially Superman. But they actually did both, which is pretty unheard of in the last 30 years. I can't think of another. Give me another example in live action. Anybody else has taken the suit that faithfully and brought it to the live action. So that is what we're talking about. When you can have both, it's great. I don't think anybody, I'm speaking really for myself and the fans I talk to, nobody went in to Hobo of Steel and thought, man, based on these trailers and that suit, this is going to be terrible. I hate it. I thought, I don't like the suit, but those really are, at the end of the day, some of that is accidents. Those are the accidents of the character. If he's substantially Superman, I'll live with it. It won't be my favorite, and I'd always want the classic suit. And then I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, no. And the way you change Superman substantially is you eradicate the Kents to where they're not the Kents, and then you've got a ripple effect, right? So that, to me, and I mean, I have some thoughts about this. I was on the phone there briefly. That's why I kind of disappeared. I don't know if you guys saw my note. Yeah, I saw that. But yeah, my ideas about this are going to be kind of along those lines. So
this is the thing. I love the way you describe that, and this is no insult to you at all, Al. I'm really trying to see. I would think that Al's the type of person. If you gave Al if you took a baseball that Al loved and suddenly it's square, Al was the kind of person would say, well, I mean, I can't, it's not going to roll, but it does have the same leather. It's got the same smell, yeah, I'll put that up on my shelf. That's not, we're not going to throw that away. That's because Al appreciates more the accidents rather than the substance when it comes to these things.
Well, I like substance too. I mean, if it elicits an emotional reaction, that's kind of always a plus. No, I will agree. No, but I will agree. The sequel trilogy, if we go there, doesn't evoke as much of an emotional thing as it is for me a visual entertainment. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? It doesn't emotionally resonate with me the way that the original.
You might be able to tell the difference between the two, but you don't need substance if there's enough accidents for you just to enjoy. You're not going to stand up and demand the substance or bust.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna like. Well, here's the thing: the original Star Wars, I threw so much money at that, it's not even funny. As a kid, toys and everything like that. I saw the sequel trilogy. It's happened. I know it happened. I'm like, okay, but I'm not. It doesn't invoke in me the same love and reaction, and I know the serious defaults in it, but I'm not going to go, okay, I'm not going to, I'm going to eliminate anything Star Wars as long as Disney has a hold of it. I'm not going to do that.
I like what Spidey Rule says. He's giving you some redemption. He says, Big Al present at least Al's reaction to Supergirl being Superman. That at least shows he has some semblance of standards.
Yeah, I will never watch that Superman and Lois show because that happened. And it's because of that I've given up Supergirl, and Superman on the CW until ever.
Yeah.
Unless it's totally revamped.
Well,
I do have some standards, but they're much. Well, it depends on how you think. Much high. I have a higher threshold of
torture.
Pain.
Torture. I'd like that. No, I just or you can say I have a lower standard, and that's what they would like to say. But that's just how I react to it.
Somebody in the, I think it was Horizon Talker, because I do want to bring this. I want to keep this to get through WandaVision and stuff like that. And as it relates to Star Wars, that's fine. But I definitely want to get back to the Lois and Clark show. Definitely, I'm glad you guys brought that up. But Horizon Talker had said, because my point here was saying that people have lost their chance. We have lost our chance to make any kind of statement to Hollywood because people have just. It didn't take you a second, and I'm saying the proverbial you. I know not everybody in the chat is in agreement with this. Many people agree with me, but it didn't take us a second to just throw our money back at Hollywood. The second they gave us something new, here you go, Disney. I'm on board. I'm subscribing. WandaVision. Ooh, yeah, and so obviously not Al, but the people who formerly stood in solidarity and we're just as disgusted as we were at what Endgame did to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And let's just talk about that for a second, because that Marvel Cinematic Universe was glorious. I mean, it had its misses here and there, it had its weaknesses, but in this day and age, to have a series of movies over that many years, to be that true to the characters, and to build up to something so beautiful and so momentous, and then to completely pull the old switcheroo. I mean, it was like completely different people were in charge all of a sudden making Endgame.
And they weren't. They were the same people. Even worse.
Exactly. Yeah. It's still a head scratcher. And the things they did in that, the way they utterly. Now, you might point to some of the good things that happened. Yeah, Cap holding, there were cool moments, of course. But what they did to Captain America, think about what it means for him to just go back in time all of a sudden. He's saying, you know what? It's time for my needs. It's time to stop being all this hero stuff. I don't need to be there for others. It's time I got paid. That's literally what he says in doing that, in going back and just staying with Peggy Carter, growing old. That's ridiculous. It also blows out of the water everything that we've been through with Bucky, with the Winter Soldier. Who cares about him? There's no relationship there. It's all about the Falcon because tokenism. Ridiculous. Black Widow. And I maintain that the reason they got rid of Black Widow is because she wasn't the female hero they wanted. She was too sexualized. They want somebody they can put a sack over and call their feminist hero. That's what they want now. They literally dumped on every wonderful thing that they gave us there, and people were rightly upset. And then for those same people, that's what I'm talking about, to turn around and say, WandaVision's actually pretty good, though. Have you seen what? It's actually I think you'd like that. It's actually, you really need to watch that. Shut up. What language are you speaking anymore? You're so what? It's like the producers of You came and just changed everything around.
You've just described Twitter. Everybody I seem to follow on Twitter, in a nutshell, because that's what I'm watching. I do comment a lot. I've gotten in trouble by just being really blunt and mean, but yeah, I see a lot of folks that are like, well, I need these. This is the words I see on Twitter. I need this to be good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand you feel you do, but I also understand you probably need psychological help, because whether this is good or not doesn't erase what's come before. And that's why, would it be all right if I were to give a summary of all of my thoughts about this whole WandaVision thing in one fell swoop? Would that bother anyone if I were to? Would it be all right if I did that here on the program?
Go for it.
Okay, now, because this, I don't know how to talk without doing certain things, so I have to do this. From the home office, you see, out there in Wakanda, It's the top 10 reasons not to ever watch more MCU. Number 10, Pepper happily watching Tony Stark die. Number 9, Woman Assemble. Number 8, Captain Manpants. Number 7, Lady Marvel. Number 6, Thor, God of Man Boobs. Number 5, Hipster Hulk. Number 4, Not Mary Jane is really Mary Jane. Number 3, Thor Ragnarok. Number 2, Foul Cap. And the number 1 reason not to ever watch more MCU, Selfish Coward Cap. So you see,
well done.
I'm out of practice, but that sums it up. And I've talked to these people that are, I don't know why they're still my friends. Not talking about you guys, but they asked me when In Shame came out. They're like, "So what do you think of Endgame?" I said, "I'm trying not to." Well, what was wrong with it? And I said, "Well, assuming you care." And I don't think they do. They're casual fans, and if you tell them that, I'm not a casual fan. Okay, clearly you are. Because they take my criticisms and they come back always with, well, but this was really good. And the problem is that's the argument that's behind The Mandalorian. It's behind WandaVision, which I will not watch ever. I couldn't care less. And I like both of those performers. I really do. And I like the characters. One of my first introductions to Marvel when I started reading comics was an issue of West Coast Avengers. And there was this wicked looking evil dude on the cover, and his fingers on one hand were like all children, which was creepy. And he was like gigantic sized. And then there was Scarlet Witch and Vision in peril, screaming because it was their kids on this, like this guy's fingers were, and I don't know what was going on with their children, something mystical. And so I've always thought, man, these are cool characters, but I don't care. Why? Because I've seen there were 3 movies as far as that I've seen. I didn't see Man Pants, and I never will. But there were 3 movies that came out that really disassembled all of this stuff, and I'm done. Like, I mean, there's no reason to watch it. And when I talk to people, they're like, "Yeah, well," I've heard so many people say, "Well, I didn't like A, B, and C in Endgame, but at least D, E, and F happened." No, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are so many central, foundational, substantial problems with that movie that and if you go now, I haven't watched it. My wife we got in a fight over it. She said, "Why can't I watch it?" I said, "I'm not saying you can't watch it. I'm saying that you need to let me know when you want to so I can leave, because I'm not going to be in this house. I can be in the same room. I don't even want to be in the same house when it's on, because it's offensive to me in the same way Hobo of Steel is." And almost not as much, but close. And I said,
have to buy a plane ticket.
Yeah, I need to go visit you guys. And I said, "Look, this is something I don't want to see." And she wants to watch it because she, against my wishes, which mean nothing, she has got Disney Plus, and she made the mistake of asking the other night, "What do you think about this WandaVision stuff?" I was like, "Let's not. It'd be better if we talk about politics right now than that. It'd be less volatile than that, I think." I said, or maybe your menstruation period, like, how's that going for you? That would be less offensive to you and me than talking about that. She can't understand Endgame. And so I said, "Do you care if I tell you what happened in the movie?" No. I said, "Okay." The biggest problem is that the center of the universe, was Captain America, is turned into a coward. He's turned into a selfish, really, coward is a good word, but really self-absorbed, and all the character development. And she's seen every movie. I said, "Do you remember in the first Avenger, the first Captain America movie, when Bucky, his friend, got experimented on?" Yeah. Okay. Remember the Winter Soldier when he had to watch Peggy die? Yeah. And all that he went through there, and how he was moving on. And then there was Sharon, and he was beginning to move on. Remember how that was in Civil War? Yeah. All that meant nothing. It meant nothing.
Nope.
And all that we have now is a guy, "Oh, hey, time travel. I can go finally be with Peggy." That's not what the character has been doing. And then you have Bucky, who has been hanging out in Wakanda, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll just stand over here with my long hair and look pretty." No, that was all there, even more so than the comic, which in the comics, when they bring Bucky back, he is not enhanced beyond his arm as the Winter Soldier. This series went out of their way to show him being experimented on by the guy that came up with the super soldier serum, the Nazi version. That was all setting up him taking over as Captain America. Even if it was a movie, It was supposed to be his destiny. You know why they didn't know? Because something happened overnight. I don't know what happened, honestly. It's very disturbing. These are the same people. And overnight, something happened. It started with Ragnarok, and something happened where they said, none of that matters anymore. We've had all this character progression, all of this character development. We've been really serving every character well and right. None of that matters anymore. Here, we're going to destroy Thor. And they did. They did everything they could to make him a joke, a laughing stock, and to emasculate him as much as possible. Same with the Hulk. Started in that movie. Yep. And then, hey, we're going to continue that in Infinity War, even though that is pretty much an okay film. It's somewhat redemptive of Thor, but we're still going to keep doing it. Still going to make him a punchline. And then with Cap, everything seemed fine. Oh, but hey, here, Cap. None of these other character moments happen. They don't matter because now he can't get over Peggy. That's not what the character's fundamentally. When you talk about him developmentally, like the arc of the character has always been about a man out of time adjusting to being out of time. Not how can I find a time machine to go back and never, because if that's the case, why didn't he just go back and I don't know, make sure nobody stole the super soldier serum so there could be other Captain Americas and he could have that life. So many things are wrong with him being selfish. That's not what Captain America does.
And people get so mad when you point that out. You just you're missing the meta narrative. People actually said this ridiculous word to me before. Also, the Hulk. You mentioned the Hulk, and how about Thor? One of the things they said about the Hulk was since they weren't going to make actual Hulk films because of the rights or whatever nonsense, they were at least going to try and give him an arc through. It started with Age of Ultron, and then it moved through Ragnarok and into Infinity War. It was supposed to wrap up with Endgame. Okay, now you do see a bit of a progression going on there. In Avengers Age of Ultron, he leaves Earth. He realizes that he can't be there anymore. He causes too much damage. The world's not going to accept him after everything he's done or whatever. So as the Hulk leaves, right? And then you've got in Ragnarok, you've got the idea that he was the Hulk for so long that the Hulk starts to grow a little bit. He's speaking a little bit more and stuff like that. Then with Infinity War, suddenly he doesn't want to be the Hulk anymore. The Hulk won't come out. Something's going on here, and we do see a real, there needs to be something. And when all of a sudden you show up in Endgame, and the rest of that progression that they think is okay is just to have him sitting down in a cafe telling you about all this that happened to him. And so now I'm just Professor Hulk. Everything's better now. Yeah. Like, way to drop the ball in every conceivable way when it comes to writing. I mean, even if you don't like or do like the character, whatever, that's just horrible writing. Horrible writing. And that's the kind of stuff that people just give a pass to.
Yep. And you know why that happened is because Bruce Banner is a straight male. And I know I don't want to bring shame to your channel, but that's why he was sidelined. Same with Cap.
White male.
That's why we had to have this pseudo scene that was very suggestive of two Caps from different time periods looking at each other's butt and commenting on it. That's not the character either, but hey, we got to throw that in. All this pandering. And I could kind of tolerate pandering, but if you're going to substantially change a character, then you've lost me. And they lost the right to get my money or my attention anymore. And I talk to people that go, well, I don't see how you can give up now when you've watched all these movies. I said, you have no idea what I can't give up. To think it doesn't hurt me, don't you think I want? I mean, like you said, and I think all three of us have felt this, and certainly people in the chat will agree, we have been on this wonderful ride for almost a full decade, and every movie there was always the feeling in my mind they're going to get something wrong. Nobody ever makes it this long. The Batman films went downhill, the Superman films went downhill. Many films have not gotten this far, and they kept hitting out of the park. They got characters I thought would always be problematic. Thor, they got Thor right for so long. They got Cap right. I thought if they're going to do Ultimate Cap, I'm out. And that would have been an early ripcord for me. But they didn't. Like, that's classic, iconic, original Cap. And then what happened behind the scenes, nobody knows. But they said, well, none of that matters. And all that matters now is, and we're going to retcon where the term Avengers comes from. We're going to retcon who the first MCU superhero is into Man Pants. And I was done. So I have no interest I'm probably not the best guest to have on about this topic because I'll never watch it. I won't even watch it to criticize it. You know what I mean?
I'm right there with you. No, me neither.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But see, here's the thing. Everything you're saying, spot on. And I see people in the chat agreeing with it. I can't even conceive of the twisted, ridiculous, delusional logic that makes somebody who agrees with us, who says, right on, fan man, that's right, turn around and say, WandaVision, though, that's actually pretty good. It's the same stupid continuity. It's telling a story built on the continuity of Endgame. It's not some separate, this is a different kind of universe, guys. This one's different, but that's what they'll tell themselves. Oh, well, yeah, but the time thing that they're doing, it might just be, we just need to support it because, eventually it'll come around. And no, and you guys remember that video I made about before the Justice League came out, and it was the ice cream metaphor? I said, you know what?
Oh, that one. God.
It's like I said, it's like going to an ice cream shop with friends, and you're all big fans of ice cream, and you want good ice cream sundae, and you get to the shop all of a sudden, and the guy doesn't serve you ice cream; he serves you a big bowl of dog poop, and you look at it, you're like, what? Any sane person would throw that on the floor and be outraged. I came here for ice cream. You gave me this, but idiots around you are going, well, I mean, it does have sprinkles, and the whipped cream on it is actually really good. And I mean, this is what people are sounding like. I don't understand it in any way about all kinds of franchises. And you hit on it, fam. It's that desperation to we can't not watch it. I mean, we can't, we spent all this time. Well, do you care about the substance of it? Or are you just desperate for something to watch?
And that's what it is. It's like, it's not even enough because this applies to comics. It applies to movies. I've had this argument very heated about Star Trek and Star Wars with a couple of people on Twitter. Nothing that is coming out now is better than the original stuff. I don't care what anybody says or tries to retcon. Mm-hmm. And I said, so you're saying you have to constantly have more, and that's the only validity the original stuff has. How about going rewatch the original stuff, reread the original things, read and watch the stuff you never got around to. In some cases, you couldn't have gotten around to it.
Read?
And yeah, read. God forbid.
Man.
I've been diving into a lot of Silver Age Superman and some Golden Age, and also the old Secret Origins series that came out after Crisis, and reading about characters I really never knew their origins. And there's so much out there. And a lot of people I've also seen will say, well, none of that is in continuity anymore, as if that somehow negates it. And so, go back and I'm about to start a rewatch of the original series and go all the way through and watch Star Trek Continues and the animated series, which I haven't seen in years, and the movies. And so all of these things are there. Why isn't that enough? And that's where that fan addiction comes in that I've talked about, where
that term, I forgot this.
And that's a problem because, as I've very passionately said, I got really a lot of insults on my 2-part Snyder universe, Snyder Cut videos. As I said to these people, you are bringing the rest of us down, because there are some of us who have these standards. We won't settle for more, and we won't settle. Usually I won't settle for less. I won't settle for more of the same, of something that isn't what it is. And the more you buy it, the more you watch it, the more you read it, the more it diminishes. It's kind of like anything, think about demand and what is it called? Supply and demand. Well, once we have too much of this, nobody wants it. Think about the death of Superman 75. If I made 5 million copies of that, it's not that valuable, and so now you keep making more of this stuff, and the original stuff is even that's losing its value in some ways because people don't even know about it anymore. You are perpetuating this hollow kind of caricature, just empty tomb version of these things that we love and that have resonance and meaning. And you're watching stuff that has no meaning. I mean, look, I haven't seen it. I know some people who, until you see it, you can't. I guarantee you, relative to the original Star Wars trilogy, The Mandalorian has no meaning. None. You might like it. It might have some great stuff in it. Relative to what the original trilogy did for our culture and planet, it means nothing. And in 20 years, will mean nothing. Now, is it enjoyable, entertaining, great? Will people love it in 20 years and still there'll be Baby Yoda? People are going to be naming their kids Baby Yoda? Probably.
Grogu.
Grogu. Yeah, Grogu. But will it have the meaning the original trilogy had? No. And so that's what I boil it down to is this thing of this kind of value. And if you don't believe in that, of course you're going to take anything else. And you know, it's that, and that's not even getting into the kind of idea of, well, I really like this aspect of it. This is a person who says, I don't really like any aspect of it as long as I have more of it. That's people who I've known alcoholics who are like, I don't care what the beer tastes like as long as there's more. And I'm thinking, meanwhile, give me a really good craft beer, you know, or give me a Guinness that I can savor and enjoy instead of 20 or 30 light beers. And that's what these people want. Just keep, you know, it's like in Tommy Boy. I could give you a guarantee and I give you a box of crap and slap the word guarantee on it. And all it is a box of crap. It's the same thing. And it's just, I get mad. I'm getting mad thinking about it because it's bad enough. It's bad enough we have to work against the studios and we have to work against these pretentious, quote unquote, creators who are telling us, oh, well, you don't know. Like that was recently. I don't remember what property it was. Somebody said, oh, it was the Barbie movie. And I know, who cares, right? But it was the broad that's going to be involved in that, the girl that's going to be in that, Margot Robbie. And she said, this is the Barbie you didn't know you needed. And I thought, who are you? First of all, who gives a crap? But second of all,
because the Harley Quinn we didn't know we needed worked out so well.
and Barbie's not a character; she's a doll. You know what I mean? She's an absence of character that girls can put in stories and their own. You know, and but that's Hollywood. This is what you didn't know. That's Zack Snyder. That's David Goyer. You didn't.
That was David Goyer. Yeah. Don't give the fans what they want. Give them what they don't know that they want.
That's right.
How the audacity of that.
And we have to fight those people. And now we have these people going, oh, I just want more because it's great. Yay.
Yep. There's no hope.
So that's why I have said, and it's kind of why I've moved my focus on the channel for my sanity, really, is the idea that it's going to be decades before any of this, if it ever happens, will have some kind of a shift or a turn. And I honestly, a new day goes by and I read something and I think, oh no, we might be 50 years out, if ever, because it's just, you know, I went on a message board recently, and then I'll stop. And it was over at the Comic Book Resources, and I don't know why I keep going back there. Stockholm Syndrome. And I went over there, and there was a title, and I just lurk because I've been banned multiple times under multiple accounts. So I was lurking and reading, and the thread was, which Superman story would you love to see as an animated film? And I thought, hey, that's cool. These people are allegedly Superman fans. They will all agree some have to be made because they're just begging to be made. Every post, and I counted, I think it was like 300. It was a number of pages in. Every one of them said a couple of things I agreed with, and everyone ended with or started with Superman smashes the Klan.
Oh my gosh.
And I haven't read that, but I have a real bad feeling because I've read the work of the guy writing it. And so that's this idea that I'm talking about, is that this is what we're going to have, is this new kind of way of looking at this that isn't the character. And people will just keep eating it up, and telling you, well, this is how either it should have always been, or this is what it was really supposed to be. Meanwhile, they know nothing about that. And that is these people are keeping that company on life support. And that's why we're never going to see a change.
I want to get to Professor Logos' super chat here from Lobax. Is the problem that the general audience is not made up of writers, and so people don't notice when stories go bad? It's a good point. I wouldn't say that you have to be a writer because I think what we've lost, and now Fan Man and I are writers, and we're going to notice things like that. Absolutely. And maybe you're a writer too. I forget, Professor Logos. I think the problem, though, is that we've lost an educated audience. And I mean that in every way. They don't know what good story is anymore because they've ceased to seek it out. You know, one of the principles on my channel I talk about is that you are the product of the stories that you tell yourself, but also the stories you spend your time around. So if all you do is gobbledygook all day on whatever videos show up in your Facebook feed, or you watch whatever's newest from Netflix, you're gobbling up that Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and you're going to watch your
yeah.
everything.
Oh, thanks for that.
But if that's just what you spend your time with, then you have no idea what good writing is, and you have no wonder you're like, well, at least this was good, because you're a blind man groping, for a little bit of warmth. You have no idea what's good, and the general populace is like that. The general audience, because they don't take the time to seek out good story, they want that easy road. Heaven forbid they open a book. Let's just turn our TV on and mine's off and just shove in whatever it's the popular or the powers that be are going to feed us. So yeah, I think that, and then so I think an educated viewership is one thing that's needed. But again, the hypocrisy of people who say that they want to stand up for, hey, that's not right, I wasn't okay with that, but then turn around and roll over the next second and suddenly are okay with anything. It's just I guess people I thought were an educated audience are suddenly just prove themselves not so much. It's just I don't know.
So basically, what really ticks you off are guys like the Fandom Menace, who said after Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, that's it, I'm done. No more Star Wars until Disney is no longer involved. Blah 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 blah. And the Mandalorian comes along, and they're like, "Wow, this is pretty good." So that's basically what ticks you off more than someone like me who watched it, knew it wasn't up to stuff, but still, I'm glad I watched it. Had a decent enough time. Was whatever. And then go to Mandalorian and find it to be, quite frankly, the best Star Wars since the original trilogy, by the way. You don't have as much issue with
as the person who hasn't imbibed any of the EU.
Yeah, who's someone who decided, who said they were done with it, but then went back.
I'd be careful using that word Fandom Menace though, because I agree with what you're saying, but let me because I do agree with what you're saying.
I might have misspoke with the term Fandom, but
I'll give you an example. There's like the World Class Bullshitters, that channel. They consider themselves Fandom Menace, but I actually really still respect them. And even the other day, Jeff made a video, and it was a little bit of a clickbaity title. I think you knew what he was doing, but it was like Disney, I think it was something like unofficially says no to the sequel trilogy or something like that. And that's kind of, that title kind of that's clickbaity with all of the people. Oh, my sources say, guys, there's a civil war. Now you watch the video, and what he's pointing out, which is a great video, he's talking about the new series of action figures that Hasbro has just released, and he points out, which is a good point. He's like, they feel like they have more chance of selling you a Jar Jar Binks Black Series action figure than any figure from the sequel trilogy.
I saw that at Target.
Yeah, and now at the end of it, he said, guys, you like Mandalorian? That's great, but it's leading right up to the sequel trilogy. Jon Favreau's come right out and said that recently, and people are already saying, yeah, but he didn't use a comma when he said it, therefore it could mean this.
And I just and basically as far as my opinion of the show Mandalorian and how people say, well, it still leads to the sequel trilogy, I only have 3 words: I don't care.
Which is why, as you said, you don't really fall in this category of people that drive me crazy. I mean, I don't get you. I don't understand you. You're a weird little man. But
if season 3 of Mandalorian completely craps out, I still have those beautiful 2 seasons, those beautiful 16 episodes of a darkish, and part of me afterward, I was like, man, I almost wish they'd stop here, because I don't know how they could top it. It was that good. And I felt, and like I said, I've told this to the professor a few times. I wish you didn't have this hatred and block against it so much, and were able to feel the emotional experience that I did, because it was a very profound experience to see a beloved, iconic character the way he should have been done the entire time.
See, I can say that same thing to you about the EU books. I wish that you didn't have this block where you wouldn't open up the EU and you realize the wonderful stories you have there that are so
but the thing is, I don't have a block against them. I'm just not a great reader. I'm just not a big reader. Now, if kind of
idea though, the kind of emotion over rationality.
If I had access to every book and audio and time to go through it, I would. You said let's do Kenobi. Okay, let's do Kenobi. You said the Thrawn trilogy. Boom, let's do the Thrawn trilogy, and I had that.
Let me thank this super chat here, Miguel Espinoza. I don't know what CLP is, but thank you very much for it. And he says, "Here's to the long-awaited return to office hours." Absolutely, it hasn't returned to a weekly thing, but I think specials like this every now and then are a good idea. So
I don't know what CLP is, but 1,000 of them. That's awesome.
Isn't that the Canadian lazy penny? I think I don't.
No, that comes up as CA, the Canadian.
Oh, okay, that might be.
I wonder what's. Yeah, that's actually kind of. I'm actually now really interested in knowing what the CLP is, where it's from, because that's awesome.
Somebody commented, and we'll move on to Batwoman here in a second. But somebody did comment when I put out my video on why, guys, what's the big deal when that Luke Skywalker moment happened with Mandalorian? Because I read the synopsis, everybody's flipping out about it, and somebody wrote a message. You just need to watch it. You're missing the meta narrative. You need to experience it. And what they mean was, stop thinking about it. Just feel. Just get there and listen to the music and see the lights and just feel with the rest. You want me to turn my brain off and just whip up the emotions? Nope.
I watched it, and
I will. Oh, I'm sorry. Go.
No, I was going to say I watched it, and then I shared this with Al the other day. Somebody did a deep fake that was 100 times better than the CG in the scene. But I watched it on YouTube, and I thought this would be awesome if the last everything since 2015 had that. That was my first thought. Now, did it look amazing, and did I actually feel like, man, imagine the potential of so much you could do, and imagine if Lucas had not gone off, and I'm not blaming him, he went raise his family, but imagine if he had done the sequel trilogy then, and the Thrawn stuff or what have you, but I couldn't feel what other people were feeling who were like, well, I can like Luke now because he's not that Luke yet, but he will be.
He will be.
Yeah, it's like looking at a picture of an ex-girlfriend and going, man, she is really hot right there. I still feel for her. Oh, this is before she broke your heart by cheating on you with some other guy, and now she's married to that guy who was your best friend. Oh, but it's okay. She was hot in that picture. Nah, I just can't. I can't do it.
And Kylo Ren kills Baby Yoda, and when he slaughters.
No, there's no proof of that.
See.
There's absolutely 100% no proof that Grogu and it's Grogu that Grogu dies at the hands of Kylo Ren. There's no proof of that. Now, when and if they actually say that happened, then it happened.
It ain't going to happen for a long time. Right now, it's money, 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 money. Greener than the child, Grogu, is the money. He's not.
I think Grogu is the best thing that Disney Star Wars came up with as a cash cow. And I actually say that with all due respect, because they really, with the sequel trilogy, they had nothing that really, except for BB-8, to have any kind of marketability. When Baby Yoda Grogu came out, kaboom, and it was just like 77. They were not ready for it, because if they had the product ready, it would have given away the great reveal that they had, which I kind of have respect for. They chose the storyline over the marketability of it.
Can I just say that Yaddle is really offended that nobody Yaddle is there in 1999.
Master Vandar from Knights of the Old Republic in 2000, whatever it was, 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yaddle was the first other Yoda. I would call that one the Lady Yoda. Mm-hmm. And no love for Yaddle. She's pretty hot, I'm not going to lie. All right, anyway. Now we're going down disturbing.
Well, I want to get to Batwoman here, because it's true. This is kind of talking about the CW in general. Because we can definitely talk about the Lois and Clark show coming up, which I don't know why this is still happening.
Superman and Lois.
Superman and Lois, whatever. It's dumb. But here's the thing: Batwoman was just renewed for a third season. Absolutely nobody looks this show. Nobody unironically watches this show. The only people really watching it are people who can then criticize it on YouTube. Now you've got 2 or 3 Twitter bots who are just so happy because it fits their political agendas and whatever. This show it's laughable in the ratings. I mean, downright laughable. It makes them no money. It's if it does anything, it's doing damage to the franchise because the real character of Kate Kane's Batwoman will never be able to be produced or shown anywhere because this horrible shadow of this ugly, nasty incarnation will forever hold sway over it, and yet they renewed it for a third season. This is my answer to this argument that I've heard from a number of people and from a number of different channels. Guys, these places are businesses. We just have to, if we keep demanding and not giving money to the bad stuff, but giving money to the good stuff, that's how supply and demand works, and that's how businesses work, and they will come around because at the bottom line, they are a business. Any company if that's true of any company, that at the bottom line, they are a business, and they will get to it when it comes to money, they're not going to greenlight a season 3 of Batwoman. They're not going to continue to double down. They don't care about money. They should. I agree. They should. And it makes logical sense that they should. But for whatever reason, the people are in power are so obsessed and so bent on this evangelization of their political agenda, socio-political agenda, that they will not bow. They will throw all the money and the entire business down the drain in a heartbeat before relenting one moment on their message, their platform that they're determined to preach to you. In Batwoman season 3 is all the proof that you need for that. I mean, it really is.
Do you know why that show is getting a season 3? For the same reason that Trevor Noah is still on television, despite having zero talent, and he's supposed to be an alleged comedian. And if you watch Comedy Central, you see his breaks that come in between when you're like trying to watch The Office or something, and there's this loser. It's all down to something they can't even control. Their skin color. The only reason Batwoman is coming back is they said, well, it wasn't enough that we had a character who wasn't straight. Now we're going to have a character who's not only not straight, although I think the actress maybe is. I think the actress just said, oh sure, I'm also possibly not straight. Meanwhile, I'd love to eat. I'd love to have a job. But you know what else? I happen to be a POC. Nah, like, come on. That's the only reason. And and that is not, you could argue, the character. I never got into that character. I don't really care, but I think that just goes to show that they're just, like you said, they're pushing these agendas, and how far and long. I've been thinking if Trump gets out of office, this will stop. But I don't think so.
No.
I think they are.
Oh no, it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse because they've always been this way, and they got like set off by the last 4 years. Whether you voted for Trump or not, I think you have to agree that was a catalyst. And now it's the Pandora's box has been opened, and you can't put it back in. And it's such a sad thing because, as I think I was saying that today on the after show chat this morning, that they have such a gold mine at DC, even more than Marvel. When you think about, they've been around longer, almost twice as long as Marvel was, and the richness of the universe, to think of all that they could be doing. If they did it right, holy crap, they would have beat Marvel to the punch decades ago with the movies, the TV shows, the animation. I mean, they could just be in the probably hundreds of billions, and they're just, no, we're going to keep pushing this, and we don't care about money. And that I look at that as a cult. I mean, that to me is like a sick kind of, cultish kind of devotion to your ideology, rather than not even a business, not even trying to tell stories. It's just, we've got to push this. And that, that's the whole thing with Superman and Lois. I have another name for it out of respect for your channel. I won't say I call it on Twitter. But yeah,
I think it's Super Cuck, right? Super Cuck and Lois. Is that
Super Cuck? Yeah, the Cuck of Steel.
Cuck of Steel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true, because we all three are in agreement that that's what that show is going to be all about.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that show's a total agenda-driven show. Now, I will say, somewhere there's a contract that is keeping that show alive. If anybody remembers many a year ago when Lois and Clark, the Adventures of Superman, were on, it got a guaranteed 2-season renewal because of a deal for another show. It was the incentive or something. It's like, well, if you give us 2 more of this, we'll give you this kind of thing. I don't remember the actual thing, but I remember there was some kind of hinky deal. And that's what they actually wanted to cancel Lois and Clark a year before they did.
I didn't know that.
So somewhere, I think that Berlanti or whoever's behind this show has got a contract. It's like, well, if you keep Batwoman on, I'll keep doing the Flash or something like that. I'm not saying it is. This is just a conspiracy theory I have, because quite frankly, there is no responsible reason, no logical reason that Batwoman got renewed. The show has plummeting ratings. It is basically saying we have an hour that we don't give a damn about. So we're putting it here and just leave it there. And it'll do whatever it does, and we'll throw all of our agenda into it, and the word will get out, I'm sure. Mwahaha. I don't think they're really going mwahaha, but there are brilliant writers who don't have a chance to get their stuff on television, because you guys like Berlanti, who has 20 shows on the air, who are just ingrained into the business, and they've just got their little fingers all
20 shows about gay relationships.
Yeah, and what gets me is that they make us like, oh, look how edgy we are. These guys are gay. Soap. Back in the 70s, had a gay character. Wow, revolutionary. I mean, come on. It's nothing new, guys. You're not doing anything edgy and out there. It's accepted. It's or tolerated. It all depends on your point of view. Most people could care less.
The thing is, too, the way they're written, like, okay, I'm trying to imagine if I was gay and I was all about more representation or something like that, I would still be insulted by Berlanti's quote unquote representation, because every time he shows a gay relationship, it is shoehorned into the plot. It's shoehorned into the story. He's definitely, you see the writers and producers' hands almost coming into the frame and moving things around just to make it be like this. It's tokenism. It's not honoring the story in any way. It's not organic. It doesn't add to it. It just becomes, Supergirl became about Supergirl's gay sister and the fact that Supergirl's a woman. Where's pants? It was just so dumb.
You need to give her pants.
There's nothing about a gay relationship that's shocking or I'm not going to say interesting, but it doesn't have the shocking value that I think people think it does.
Yeah.
It's been there, done that,
and people know people in life that are gay too. So it's not like I think people really in Hollywood are convinced that there's a large portion, and primarily they believe it's the flyover states. They believe that we are stuck back in 1950 or whatever, and we don't know this stuff's going on. Nah, I think maybe the three of us. I don't know if you do, but I know a couple of people that are gay. I have no problem with it. It's when you come and tell me that I have to, if I don't agree with your lifestyle, I'm a bigot, that I have a huge problem.
Yeah,
and that's what these shows do. And it's not.
Sorry, I thought you were winding down. I thought that was a break. Sorry, but no, you said that you thought it would get better now that Trump's not in office anymore, and we all agreed no, it's going to get worse. This is why that kind of the ideologues who are behind Hollywood and all these kinds of things, they are nothing absolutely nothing without their victim status.
Right.
And they can't maintain their victim status unless they're constantly shaking their fists at you as their oppressor. So even when, and that's what we're talking about right now, we're looking around going, what oppression, but no, they have to continue to push that narrative and to spin the whole world in such a way where they are still being victimized, because if they're not, then suddenly they lose that platform. That's all they built that platform on, was victimization. That for unfair to women, unfair to this disenfranchised or minority group and so forth and whatnot. Just accepting and looking at the virtues of different people's differences or whatever, and letting that organically come into stories. No, affirmative action it into place. With Hollywood.
And what gets me, it's like, like the old, and I'm going to use really weird colloquialisms, like the man is keeping me down. We've had a black president. Shut the frack up.
Yeah.
If he can do it, you can do it. You're just not trying hard enough.
Yeah, well, it wasn't enough though. For these people, it'll never be enough. I mean, these are people who want to hold you accountable for things you didn't even do. That had you been aware of, you wouldn't have done them. But also, they forget that 100 years ago, that there wasn't a whole lot of awareness of what's right and wrong in this sense. We're talking about like slavery and reparations, and it's just never enough for them. And that's what's very scary. We're seeing that now.
I will give $1,000 in reparations to anybody who comes up to me who was a slave up until the end of the Civil War. Show up at my door and I'll give you $1,000. If you were a slave in 1865, I'll give you $1,000 of reparations, which at that time was a gazillion dollars.
Sounded great. She's awesome. I'm a victim on Twitter drinking my $7 coffee.
There it is. Yeah, right. Life is so hard that I had to go and ask for another packet of Splenda. Like,
I'm gonna flip the switch a little bit here. I'm an overweight man who's been overweight my entire life. I could have lost weight if I really tried. I just didn't bother. It's my fault that I was as big as I was. And it's just like the other guy whose fault. If you have a reasonable intelligence and you weren't able to at least make something of yourself because you just kept, sitting there and didn't bother, you're not being impressed.
You don't think we need to change the norms of beauty though? Because
no, I know I'm a fat slob. Come on. I mean, it doesn't make me an evil person. I just didn't have the mindset to be able to do that. That just wasn't me. But I'm not going to be angry at society that I am the way I am, and because you don't like me because I'm fat. I'm oppressed. No, I'm fat because I ate too much and didn't exercise.
All those dirty GQ covers trying to push a norm of healthy lifestyle living.
I know, and it's and I mean, we're like I said, we're oversimplifying and just having a little bit of a laugh here. Well, I am, because the pain is so real. But
I feel your pain, brother.
I know, but
look at what we're doing here is because we're talking, and this is what they're doing. So we're talking about what they're doing here, but they're doing this with our superheroes. Berlanti, for some reason, has been given charge of all of these, just almost any DC character he wants now. It used to be that you couldn't touch Superman or Batman or something like that. Nope. Any of them he wants, basically. These are the iterations that people are growing up with, and I've talked about it before, how it used to be that, okay, well, if Snyder does his garbage, take on these characters or whatever, society knows who Superman really is. But because Warner Brothers has doubled down on it, DC Comics has they've doubled down on it. They've actually spawned a generation now that no longer remembers what these heroes were. I still believe and think that one day the real Superman will reassert himself in popular media in some form or another. But you've got a generation who doesn't know that Superman isn't a whiny baby Hamlet killer. You've got a generation who doesn't know that the DC universe isn't what Berlanti portrays it as and everything like that. It's detrimental to society. It's detrimental to the people's brains who are watching these shows and just turning to mush. I mean, it's a real problem, mythologically speaking.
Yeah, and now they're bringing in a new series, Superman and Lois, and they have a Superman who is basically pee-whipped, and
don't forget their non-binary,
and has been pummeled by his cousin,
mm-hmm.
who and then admitted, "Oh, you are so much stronger than me.
You're Earth's greatest.
You are just better."
Mm-hmm.
And it was at that moment I'm like, I literally was watching when it happened as it aired, going,
Me too. Yeah.
I was going, the Professor and Finn are going to have an absolute fit when they hear this.
Dude. I lost it.
I knew it when I saw it. I knew that was. See, even I have a threshold.
You know what hurts about that, though? What hurts about that is that Tyler Hoechlin's Superman on the Supergirl show came at a time in which the Supergirl show itself hadn't shown its true colors. It hadn't devolved into, and at that time, oh my gosh, did we need a real true blue representation of Superman in media? You had, Cavill's nonsense, emo Hamlet on the big screen. But when Hoechlin came in, there was real major problems with that suit. But he looked the part. He was smiling. He was winking. You had the music in that first couple episodes where he premieres. It was like having the real Superman on screen again. It was wonderful. It was like, wow. And I really think this was their plan from the start. How subversive was it of them to take everybody's hopes and like, yeah, come, we got the real Superman. And by the time, certainly by the time you mentioned when Supergirl just totally whips his butt and he says, you're better than me, Kara. You can have all my enemies too. You can have my whole rogues gallery. They all get to meet you for the first time now as well. You're just nonsense after nonsense. And then with that Crisis show that Fan pointed out, Brandon Routh's just wonderful appearance in, it was almost laughable seeing shots of Brandon Routh in that suit next to Tyler Hoechlin. In this.
Oh, I know.
Now, Hoechlin could have been something great. He could have pulled it off, but the way they have developed his character now and him next to Routh is like, don't even call yourself Superman. Don't even talk about you also being a Superman. You are nothing. Nothing is super about you. He couldn't do anything even in the Crisis crossover without Lois, telling him how to do it or something nonsense like that.
He stuck out so much as everybody else looked like a cosplayer. In fact, if I'm looking for that image now because
if you put it up, I'll show it. Yeah,
there were a couple of images that were just I felt bad. Like, it's sad.
It's a joke.
I will say this past holiday season on my channel, we had a rewatch of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Mm-hmm. Tyler Hoechlin is that weird, goofy little Martian guy in the Santa suit next to the real Santa Claus, who is Brandon Routh. It just you stand them together. It's like, wow. There is one of these things is not like the other, and one of these things needs to go away because we have a Superman. We had the perfect Superman for the last decade, and they just would let him be Superman. And
people were really reacting to that. Brandon Routh returning as Superman finally. I mean, for all of the criticism that Superman Returns gets, and rightly so in the story of it, they did things that Superman should not do, period. People saw past that, though, to Routh's performance and realized, man, he really can portray Superman, the real deal iconic Superman. And after all of the response, this is another thing. They don't care about the money. They're not a business. That response, they turn around and announce right after that, and Tyler Hoechlin gets the Superman series. Mm-hmm. What?
Now, I do want to say something. The way you just talked about Superman Returns is such an Al reaction. It's like, yes, it had its problems, rightfully so, but we were able to look past it to what was really good about it.
Well,
that's an Al way of looking at things.
It was a good film, first of all. If you ignore the fact that it's a Superman film, it's a wonderful made film, and most of the stuff today simply isn't. Man of Steel is a horrible made movie, even if you forget about it being a Superman film. And Superman Returns really did have a lot. the character of Superman was still there. Some of the stupid thing about the Lois triangle with Richard, that's just dumb. You don't put that in the Superman movie. But the character of Superman was still there. The substance was still there. It wasn't an issue of accidents and substance.
See, it's like I'm looking at Superman, the Flash, and then Superboy.
From left to right, you mean?
Yeah. Going from left to right. It's just I look at Brandon Routh, and aside from Christopher Reeve, that is Superman.
Yep.
Here's the other. I'm trying to find this image that is the one that I saw when I remember when it popped up one day. I thought, holy Lord, I would have been ashamed to be any of these people. I wouldn't have been on the same set with Brandon Routh because I look like just like we're at a comic convention, and Superman landed from another Earth where here he is from Earth Prime, and we all look like a bunch of schlubs, and here's the real Superman. I can't find a big one, but I'm going to show you it's a smaller image, but I guess it'll have to do. Maybe they've scrubbed the bigger ones from evidence, but look at this. Oh shoot! How do you? Sharing here is trouble. Gosh darn! Why can't there be fewer steps to share? Okay,
Anthony Dixon, yes, Christopher. Yeah, Christopher, you'll get no argument from it. Christopher Reeve is the Superman. Period. We're just talking about people alive that could have portrayed him today. With that, but
closely followed by George Reeves. Yep. But look at this picture. You see it?
They do look like cosplayers.
They all look like they're wearing
Superman and the cosplayers. Yep.
And look at the arms and the classic suit and holy crap,
trunks that are actual trunks, not just little.
Yeah, and wow.
And that's the one thing I loved about that outfit is that they were actual trunks and not like a Speedo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were, and I mean, nobody looks at that and goes, "Oh, that's silly looking. That's out of date." Like he looks like a badass, and and those.
I wish
Superman.
I wish there were more images of when he actually had the yellow back in the shield at the end of it. I wish there were good stand-up images.
When he had the flight, yeah, that was awesome.
Not many of those. I wonder if that was intentional, just to kind of do the flyby and not have him. Not give anybody hope that
but literally that entire Crisis event, he was what everyone wanted to see. Everything else was secondary. As much as I have loved Arrow from day one, and I watched it to the end, and
I'm gonna slip to the restroom in a second.
That Crisis event, I was like, I cannot wait to see Brandon Routh in the suit again. That's what that event was all about for me. And it's a shame that like you're right. All the other outfits. Now I will say I think Oliver Queen had a pretty badass outfit.
Yeah, he
Arrow.
Pretty good.
But a lot of the other ones it looked like okay, let's do this little layered thing with the weird plastic kind of stuff, and we'll call you whatever. Forgot what half the names that they were using for people, but it looked like a weekend at shore leave, to use the name of a convention around here. I've seen better looking ones.
I was going to say, no offense to cosplayers, I've seen some that have done a far better job than a lot of these costumes. Like the Superman Hecklin's original suit was just horrible, and it's like, how did that get past the design stage to actually be made and then put on screen?
And I still say, without trunks, it just looks like pajamas. It looks like a little onesie that a kid would wear. It just does not work. I've hated that Superman outfit ever since they changed it.
Yeah.
When they got rid of the trunks, it just looks stupid from there on out. But that's just me. Well, no, it's not just me. I know it's a lot of other people too.
I don't know if can you see the picture that I shared there, or do I have to? We have to wait.
I saw it originally. I saw it originally. Are you trying to share another one?
Yeah, I was sharing the one of Routh flying with the yellow S.
Yeah, we gotta wait for the professor. His puny little bladder is holding up the show yet I get.
I came back for that. I tried to share it, yeah, but you took it away.
Yeah, I have a different one because while you were gone, Al and I were talking about the trunks, and look at this. I mean, this is a great photo of Ralph in the trunks, and there's no padding in this suit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's his real muscles.
Yeah, he got pretty beefed up for Adam.
Back in shape.
He worked out.
He's 6'4", you know, and he's just naturally small town guy in real life. He's just a perfect guy. But,
a beautiful wife. Sometimes you just want to hate him, but you can't help it.
Good for him, man. He deserves it. But look at the trunks here. I look at that and I go, how would you see that as it's proof that the costume works, the uniform works when you do it right. And all you need is a person a costume designer who's going to do it right. And he actually said in interviews, one of the things I was hesitant about doing was if they didn't do the suit right. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a kind of backhanded kind of way of saying I didn't like the one in Superman Returns. And this is what I really was hoping to see, because as much as I like the scene of him at the end where he's flying and the S is yellow and red again, if it would have been the S that they had on Tyler Hoechlin's pajamas, if they would have had S on Ralph's suit, that would have been awesome, because that was pretty much the Reeve S.
Yeah.
So I didn't like them keeping the because the Kingdom Come S, great, but it's become really overrated as far as this should be his S all the time. No, it was one story, and it had a symbolism. Mm-hmm. It was to honor the fact that Lois was dead and other people. Yeah. It shouldn't be the regular S. Yet changing the black to yellow doesn't negate that. So
there was a lot of problems. I mean, we're saying a lot of great things, rightfully so, about Ralph's portrayal as Superman at Crisis, but there were problems too with the way that they were trying to make the statement. Well, they came out with all the prepackaged marketing stuff and saying that Ralph's Superman from Superman Returns, that was the real deal Christopher Reeve Superman, continuing in continuity. And they were saying, it's very subtle, but think about this. They're saying that Superman can end only in the Kingdom Come continuity, so that you can't stay that good and hopeful forever. Tragedy will strike you at some point. That's basically what they were saying with that, which was garbage. It's a typical deconstruction, subversive nonsense that they can't handle anything true and hopeful and iconic.
Thank God they undid that. I mean, I got to be honest, when I watched it in as it was happening, and he's replaced or he's taken over by what's his name from
Lex.
3 Men and a Kid, or whatever that stupid show is called.
John Cryer is Lex.
Yeah, Pretty in Pink. Wasn't he in that movie?
Yep.
He was in Superman 4, which I kind of like the idea of him doing something back in the franchise, but not with this. No,
not that. I thought that was pretty rough. When that happened, I thought, oh, that's it. That's exactly how they're going to do this. And so when I was very happily, pleasantly surprised, and honestly really shocked that we got the retcon, the reboot of the universe, and then there was the undoing of that. Mm-hmm. So, but still, it doesn't erase the fact that we didn't see Lois. We didn't see everybody's alive. We assume they are, but it's like, no, we couldn't give you that. We have this other really crappy version that we're calling Superman and Lois. And the sad thing too, what is her name? Bitsy Russell? No, that's not her. Nipsey Russell. Who's playing Lois on that?
It is, well, Bitsy is what she goes by. I think it's Elizabeth Tulick or something.
Oh, okay. That. Yeah.
But she does go by Bitsy.
She goes by Bitsy.
That's what they do call her, Bitsy.
She really is very pretty. And I liked her performance as Lois, when she wasn't being a woman. I thought, man, she exudes kind of a Margot Kidder feeling. And I really liked her interaction with Ralph in those scenes. And I thought, okay, she should be with Ralph in a show. Tyler Hoechlin should go back to Teen Wolf or whatever the hell. And I don't mean him, but I mean
they made his character.
Yeah, what they made his character. But I guess I'm biased. I just can't. Well, that's not fair because I like Dean Cain. So I was just going to say somebody short and who doesn't have the build. I can accept that. Dean Cain had so much. He didn't even have presence, but he had respect for the character, and he really was. So much like that post-crisis Superman, where Clark was forward, and Superman was there, but Clark was likable and just seemed more he just brought so much to that I thought, okay, even though he's way too short, you know.
Well, this ties in because Muhammad just mentioned Batman too, and this ties into the whole Batwoman thing that, we're talking about Superman and with Brandon Routh. But the other great tragedy of that, the first time ever to have Batman from the animated series, I'm totally blanking on his name now. Kevin Conroy. Finally have Kevin Conroy as a live action Batman. Finally have him. The most iconic Batman for people from Batman the Animated Series, the real iconic Batman, not a brooder, not a murderer, not anybody like that. Bring him to live action. And who is he? He's the Dark Knight Returns Batman who kills a bunch of people and is like an enemy. And not only that, but they established with Kate Kane's Batwoman in that crossover that he's basically no different than the Batman from her continuity. They recognize each other and everything, and they fight each other because her Batman's just kind of MIA, because he was a white man, he's got to go. A white straight man can't be there. So that just, I mean, they don't care about these characters, and that's what drove me crazy too when the Crisis thing came out, guys. This is what DC should be doing. Why isn't the on-screen stuff doing what Berlanti's wonderfully giving us in this crossover? I'm thinking, are you watching the crossover?
Yeah.
You see what they're doing to these beloved characters? Stop it.
Yeah, they should all have some kind of inherent tragedy in their lives. And I got to be honest, I hated that they did that to the Flash, and I do blame Jeff Johns for that because, I don't know if he was fully responsible, but bringing in the New 52, even before that with Flash Rebirth, let's make Wally West also have a Batman-like past where his mother's murdered. No. And and so they brought that into the TV show. They did the race swapping. No. And so you want that to be the pattern that you do all the movies. And of course, Warner Brothers' main problem, and I've said this, and in fact, I don't know if I said that in a recent video, but just remember, this has always been Warner Brothers' approach. They have bragged about it. We are about the filmmaker first. And the problem with that is that if the filmmaker doesn't care about the character, Zack Snyder, Chris Nolan, David Goyer, then you will not, whoever did that, what was that clown movie called? The one with Joaquin Phoenix, Clown?
Oh, I think they called it the Joker, but it's nothing like any Joker that ever should be portrayed.
Until somebody proves it definitively, I'm almost certain that wasn't a DC movie. And they're like, hey, we have this in production. Nobody wants to make it because it's, it's going to be this would be like an indie film, but hey, let's make it the Joker now, Clown. And they, as long as they keep putting filmmakers first until they get the right filmmakers and leave them alone, which they did with Dick Donner to some extent and Tim Burton, we're never going to get, that Warner Brothers is never going to get it right. So anybody who says, well, I've got hope because now they're doing different continuities in the films and they're going to have like J.J. Abrams might do Superman. I'll tell you right now that if you think J.J. Abrams will do Superman right, let's just look briefly at a few things on his resume recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Star Trek, the Star Wars films, so-called, that he did. And then I want to remind everybody of Flyby, which was
I keep saying that.
Yeah, Flyby, where Clark Kent is a prince. I'm sorry, Kal-El is a prince of Krypton. Jor-El's the king. The planet doesn't explode. There's a civil war. They send him to Earth. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor, Kryptonian double agent, works for the FBI. None of that's Superman.
Nope.
But hey, let's rush Abrams in.
It's okay though, because it probably would have had some really cool mystery boxes.
That's right. Yeah, just like Star Trek Into Darkness, where he's not really Khan, even though he's Khan. And it doesn't matter that he wasn't white. It's okay because it's a mystery box. I love the hypocrisy of that. Here's Abrams with the Star Wars films that he did. We've got to have inclusivity and diversion. What are the words? I'm getting those mixed up there.
Diversity. I thought you were doing it on purpose.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, Tibet means the same, I guess, either way. Diversity and inclusion. And yet you did Star Trek, and you took one of the few characters that wasn't a white guy, and you made him one of the whitest guys on the planet, a pale guy from the UK. But you're about diversity. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I was thinking about the other day, you mentioned some of these filmmakers, and I was thinking, the real villain here, the real person who absolutely killed all of modern DC on film. It's not Zack Snyder. It's Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Now I know people are gonna flip out when I hear Dark Knight was good. Listen, Dark Knight was a good movie, but none of Nolan's Batman films were ever the real deal Batman. And he was, and I say many times, he was absolutely honest about that. He told anybody who cared to listen for 2 seconds would hear him say things about his Batman. And in my Batman universe, there are no other superheroes. And my Batman, because he was doing a Nolan film, not a Batman film. He was even honest about that. But here's why I say that Nolan is he killed modern DC on film, because he threw a little schoolgirl hissy fit and temper tantrum when they were going to make the Justice League movie. I forget what it was called. Just Mortals. Yeah. He threw a fit. They couldn't do anything else with any character of Batman because he was doing his, wonderful Dark Knight Rises, which was a really crappy film, actually, just objectively speaking. And because he didn't even care anymore at that point, he wanted out of his contract with Warner Brothers anyway. So, he pitched a fit. No one could do anything of that. And then Warner Brothers was just so enamored with the money that Dark Knight made that they were just determined to redo every DC hero they could think of in that mold. They begged and pleaded for him to do the next Superman movie. He refused. He at least would sign on as executive producer. So they got his writer, Goyer, and they got Snyder, of all people, who, really, the guy who did Watchmen, yeah, he'd do a great Superman movie. The guy who came out and said, I wouldn't do Batman unless he was getting prison raped because only then would it be interesting to me. Right. Get that guy to do Superman. And so it all goes back to Nolan and that stupid worship of his dark vision for Batman, which, of all characters that can hold up under that kind of vision, sure, Batman, not the whole DCU. That was the lesson of the New 52. The DC universe does not work with Batman as the linchpin. It cannot be in the image of Batman. Superman's the linchpin. Not even Wonder Woman. DC's trying that stupidity now with Scott Snyder's nonsense. It's Superman or nothing.
I wanted to bring that up because I'm curious if you guys saw it and what you think about it. But I forget whoever the CEO of Warner Brothers was in 2008, right after The Dark Knight hit. And of course, sadly, Heath Ledger died, which I still maintain and got a lot of flack on my channel for those videos I did. The only reason that movie got the attention it did was because Heath Ledger died. It is a good movie as far as a movie. It's it's not a Batman movie at all, but it only really resonated, I think, 2 reasons. The Joker, people love that character, and that's understandable. And the other reason is because Heath Ledger died. I don't know that had he not died, it would have done what it did. But one of the CEO guys came out and said, after this movie, every DC movie we do will be done in this style, and admitted this, meaning will be done in this deconstructionist, what would it be like if they were real? And that's what Snyder and Goiter said. I didn't have an idea for Superman until I realized, how would we react if an alien came to Earth with godlike powers? Completely misunderstanding that Superman, you can say he's got godlike powers. It's what he chooses to do with him that's the heart of the character. Yeah. So if you show that, and the idea that everybody would be afraid of that, I don't know. I think if a guy like Superman was real and he was coming and saving people from floods and disasters, pretty sure a lot of people would be excited. There'd probably be a lot of inspiration. Nah, not in our world where we all need to have our meds upped. But the new Justice Society trailer animated movie, have you guys seen that?
I saw a teaser. I haven't seen the latest trailer, I think. I saw a teaser.
Yeah, I saw part of it.
I didn't like that Hippolyta was wielding a sword and shield, but, as Wonder Woman. But I just saw the teaser, so I didn't see much else.
It is. I saw the whole trailer, and I didn't realize they were going to. I don't know if they're going with Hippolyta or if they're doing the. See, because now in the current continuity over at DC, which 4 or 5 people are reading, Diana is really first appearing in World War II era with the Justice Society, and she comes back at a different era, and she has supplanted Superman as the inspiration for all heroes, Golden Age and Modern Age. So I think that's what they're going to do here in this movie. And if you watch the trailer very carefully, you'll notice all the other characters are portrayed secondary to Wonder Woman, and she's portrayed as this kind of very violent, very I'm a woman, hear me roar with the sword and all. And it's sad because how long have we wanted these characters to get their time. You know, the Justice Society, so much potential. This isn't the way to do it, but I'm not surprised. And I saw a bunch of tweets. Man, this looks awesome. This is what we've needed. Finally, they're getting it right again at Warner Brothers Animation. And I'm thinking, what trailer did you just see? Because this is not the same trailer that we're talking about. Maybe I shouldn't judge it based on a trailer. I made that mistake with Man of Tomorrow. Did I tell you guys I saw that?
Yeah,
no, you didn't.
I didn't. I think I mentioned it to you, Al, or on the show, maybe on.
You mentioned on one of your Second Cup cafes.
One night over the break, I finally said, "Why not? Let me just give it a shot." And I got a half hour in, and I had to pay because I couldn't find the copy I had acquired other methods. But I paid.
Should call me. I have it.
Well, you had sent it to me and I couldn't find it, so I just whatever. So $6, and I got 50 cents worth of that because as I was watching it, the first thing that threw me off was Clark Kent is really just kind of a he's almost like a non-character in the story. But then the Kents, I thought this really feels like the Kents in Hobo of Steel, but maybe not. Let me give it a chance. And then there was this prolonged fight. Lois Lane, by the way, is a full reporter, and Clark is just an intern. And Ron Troop, who was kind of like a new Jimmy Olsen, really in the '90s, he's already a full reporter, and Clark looks up to him. Interesting. I'm not going to say more than that. I like Ron Troop, but that wasn't Ron Troop. And then we get to a scene where we see Superman after a protracted battle that is just terrible. A lot of cursing in there to get that PG-13 rating. We're hip and cool and edgy for the kids, the sociopath kids that should be in prison. Then look what we have here. Clark Kent naked. And there's a scent, because his suit gets burned up in the atmosphere and all this. And then he flies down to talk to Lois and these other people, and there's nothing obscuring his Supermanism.
Are you kidding me?
And you don't see it, thank God. They wouldn't show that, but from the angle they show it, you can see nothing is between him and Lois and everybody else. They're just seeing him naked.
Wow.
And I'm watching this going, I have a feeling I know why this is in here. And well, the big reason is because it was in the inspiration for this story, which, as I called it, was American Alien, and he's naked.
I hate that.
Max Landis, yeah.
Max Landis.
So, after this event happens, he goes back home, I guess to Smallville or his apartment or whatever, and he's talking to Ma and Pa, and they basically start saying things about people are going to fear and hate you, and you should hide your powers. And I thought, you are exactly the Kents from
Man of Steel.
And I stopped watching it. That was it. I was done.
Yep. Couldn't get past that either if I was doing it. Yeah.
They will not do these characters faithfully again. They
can't handle it.
No. I think they know what they're doing too, and they really they won't give us a satisfaction. And I can only imagine. I guarantee you this, kids, by the end of this year, there will be an announcement that there will be a new Superman movie, and I'm almost certain it is going to be. It won't be Kal-El. It will be Val-Zod or whatever he's called. Whatever he's called on that other universe where he's an African American. And I'm not look, in the Silver Age there were black-skinned Kryptonians. That's not the problem. That's not a racial issue. That is an Elseworlds premise. I could even be okay with that in a TV show making an appearance, like in Crisis. That's not what the movie should always be. They have to establish the iconic versions first, then you can do that. But that's coming. And that's going to rewrite things, and it's going to all be in the name of, well, look how woke and there's representation, and then there's tokenism, and it's all tokenism. And the rumor is that Michael B. Jordan has said, "I'm interested in being Superman, but not the Clark Kent version." Well, that tells you everything you need to know. So that's probably what Abrams is going to do.
Yeah.
And there are also rumors now that Michael B. Jordan wants to come back as Killmonger. But I doubt very seriously that happens because they're going to do the female Black Panther, right? Sure.
Yeah.
Great character. I loved her in the movies. She's not Black Panther. I know in the comics she was, but that was, again, representing.
I don't want to get away because I think we might wrap up with going back to that little bit of a Marvel thing. But as long as we're on the DC thing, it's sad. It's depressing that we are just never going to get we are at least, I think, it's what you said, Finn. We're at least 50 years out from getting true representations of these characters or any true handlings of our franchises, in any kind of real way. And in Superman of all characters, that would have been the perfect opportunity to truly get the character right. And if they were redoing the animated universe anyway, that would have been the time to do it. But nope. And they think just because they threw some trunks on him that people are going to get on board with that. No, stop it. The accidents versus the substance again. But what I think is just it's quite pathetic. It almost makes me feel sorry for them. But the people who are excited about the Snyder cut being released, as though that's going to do anything. Like, see, it'll show all you people that Snyder was right. He had a vision and it was going to be amazing. And I made that one video about how we do not need the Snyder cut. Nobody needs the Snyder. They still, to this day, I still get notifications, people showing up on that video to troll it, they're just giving me money for it, putting money in my pocket, but they're desperate to still silence any opposition to their beloved Snyder bro. And in whatever tragedy he's going to do with these characters, there's nothing. What I don't understand the reasoning that, okay, it didn't work. Joss Whedon, what he tried to do to that film didn't work. Therefore, what Snyder wanted to do will work. How is that? They still think that they can somehow convince us that it's going to be Superman's journey. His character progression is to become that real Superman you want. You got to let him get there. You don't understand the archetype. The aspirational hero does not fail. He does not face any kind of great tragedy or trauma to overcome. You can't become aspirational. You can't. You are or you aren't. But people can't fathom that. They can't accept that there's such a thing as an aspirational archetype that they should just leave alone. They've got to go pick and pull and deconstruct every little thing that hints at aspiration, whether it's Superman, Luke Skywalker, any character out there like that. Got to pull it down to our level to make it more relatable and understandable. And in doing, you're no longer making it aspirational. You're destroying all of your standards around, so you can pull down. You can just say the standard is where I am. I shouldn't have to try and be harder, to do anything. I shouldn't be better. I'm just, I am a hero. And that fits in with our culture, right? What we're seeing. I shouldn't have to lose weight. Big is beautiful. I shouldn't have to go out and work harder to make more money because it's the system that's holding me down. I shouldn't have to, people they don't want to try. They don't want to work on themselves. Celebrate yourself. Don't better yourself. That's the culture we live in. And that's what we see them doing to our heroes, aspirational heroes, who are the ones who should say, this is the standard you should try for. Even if you never make it, you should try for it. This is why I can't even remotely get excited about Kevin Smith's He-Man nonsense that he's going to put on Netflix. What was the other day I heard him say something that he was going to be doing more of? Some other beloved animated series that
marijuana.
Yeah. It was what was it? I forget. I don't know. But yeah, like stop getting excited that Hollywood is bringing these things back, because they're not. They're just dumping on them. They're just ruining them. They're not. There's no going back. We had a brief moment of a chance, but you lost it. You lost it because you couldn't keep your wallet in your pants, and you couldn't just not go imbibe of whatever they dished out to you. So stop it. You give yourself 50 years, maybe. That's it.
It's going to all have to crash, burn, fail. And I think what's going to happen is, I was thinking about this today. Batman will get to the saturation point when Batman fails to be a draw, which I think this Matt Reeves movie is going to be it. If not completely the beginning. When people get sick of that, when this new experiment they're doing with the Black Batman over in the comics bombs, which it's going to, because all the opportunities now, it's not like 30 years ago, for example, when they created John Henry Irons, right? Who's a great character, Steel.
Yeah.
And he was an new African American superhero. But because of the way the industry was then, and there wasn't the media synergy, you couldn't really promote him. In fact, there were people back then that worked, editors that said, we will not put ads for these characters in the books because we are told by the higher ups, don't promote characters that aren't the most, the big sellers. And Steel was never going to be that. And because of that, you couldn't really see a character get legs. But you think about today, where had they created real characters, new characters, and instead of saying, here's a female version of Spider-Man, here's an African-American version of Spider-Man, new characters for a new generation, made them actually characters would have to be the first thing, not just, virtue signals. And using all you need to use is social media. And before you know it, you make this a series, or you make it if something like The Boys can be that popular, if something and I'm not belittling The Tick, but if The Tick could be as well received as it was, I think any character has a chance. If the stuff the MCU's pulled out of the kind of the corners can work, any new character could work if you marketed it correctly. Mm-hmm. People will come to it, and all the wasted opportunity. And they're gonna just keep Batmanifying everything, all this stuff that Scotty Snyder's doing. Hey, it's time to do it.
I was waiting for that.
I love the Scotty Snyder voice.
I heard him say Scotty Snyder, and I was like, here it comes.
My new idea is that a bat flies into everybody's window. Superman's, Wonder Woman's, Green Lantern's. There's even a bat that can swim underwater, breathe underwater. It goes into Aquaman, and they all become bat versions. Yay! That's when we reach a saturation point where people are going to go, I hate Batman. And I hate that because it's one of my two favorite fictional characters of all time. But that he will have to go first, and then everything else is kind of because they've tied everything into him. And then after that, assuming, maybe they'll sell the rights, who knows? But it's sad that it's going to have to get worse before it gets better. And maybe I'm negative.
I'd like to hear what you think about this, fan, because I know Al just thinks this is ridiculous, or at least he did last time I said it. I don't think there's any hope for real representations of Superman, Wonder Woman, etc., Batman, of the real iconic representations until they go into the public domain, until and if they hit the public domain. I think that's the only way that we will get. And people say, but then anybody can write any kind of iteration of it. Yeah, but the iconic iterations will be written, can be made on the same level, and then they will rise to the top. This is why Warner Brothers is obsessed with pushing down. They still won't let Jim Bowers release his Superman photo coffee table book of all of the wonderful photos of the Reeve era, because it might interfere with what they're doing with Superman now. They know that the real deal, true version will override any nonsense they're doing. That's what people will choose if you give them the two options, And so yeah, I think public domain's almost the only answer, unless things drastically change 50 years or so into the future. But I don't know what you think about that, or if Al still thinks it's ridiculous.
You still think so, Al?
Well, I mean, I would never say never. Because the moment you go, well, it's never going to happen, like 10 years from now, someone gets it right. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they will, but there's a chance. The sun comes up mostly, for people. It's not always a cloudy day.
I agree with that. My fear, I guess, is there would be so much. It might be the same amount of time, right? Because as I understand it, we would have to wait however many more years for what we consider more the complete Superman to go into the public domain, right? Like the closest we would get would be like the Action Comics 1 Superman, right? Yeah. So you wouldn't have Flight. It would still be Superman. But is that going to be going into the public domain for sure? Like, is that a guarantee soon? Mm-hmm. How long is that going to be? Do we know?
Oh, well, they keep pulling little shenanigans every time it gets close. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why got rushed into production, was because they were about to lose the rights to some of the stuff to the family, to the Schuster family.
I'm sure legality, there's always a way around or in and out and for anything. It all depends on whose palm is getting greased. Mm-hmm. So,
what else could really hasten this would be if someone, and I kind of thought it happened with the MCU, but that's gone. It would be if somebody would come up with a Superman analog that is so, and I'm not talking about Brightburn.
No,
somebody that would come up with a Superman analog that is so clearly Superman, but not Superman because can't be for rights.
You could call him something like the Blue
Wonder.
Wonder, or my version that I'm working on called Major Valor, lest we give away any more information. Yeah. What if these versions became immensely popular, got a movie? Now you don't have to make a big budget movie. You can put it on a streaming service. And it made so much money, somebody at Warner Brothers goes, oh, people want this?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the guy that looks like Superman over there with the blonde hair killing people and raping people and the boys. They really do want this good, old-fashioned, quote-unquote, hero? Well, we've got the first one.
Yep.
That could happen, but...
I want them both.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the boys. I think that I enjoy the boys, but I also want a true Superman or a Superman analog.
I think
in the grand tradition.
A show like The Boys came out and was so well received by the public.
Well,
it says so much about the values and the place we're in as a culture that's the kind of stories people want to spend their time with.
And it's fine if you do those stories in the context that the originals are always preserved. So when people make the argument, well, you don't understand, man, there's Elseworld. I love it. I had somebody that was like 20 years older than me, and this was a friend of another friend or their kid. It might have been one of their kids. I don't remember the context. And we were talking, it was at a party I had been forced to go to. And they're like, yeah, well, you don't like those movies, but have you ever heard of Elseworlds where like that's all this is an Elseworld? And I just laughed and laughed because I thought I was reading comics before there were Elseworlds, son. Have you ever heard of the multiverse? What's that exactly? Yeah, punk ass. No, he's a good kid. What I said though was,
have you ever heard about this one, son?
Have you ever heard the sound of my foot going squaw up? Never mind. But I said, hey, that only worked. Even when they did the multiverse, it only worked because they'd established the iconic versions. And so once you've established context, you can riff on it. It's kind of like in music, and Sound Engraver would be the person, or Stephen Cruz talk about this. But with jazz, my limit, I love jazz, but I don't know a lot about the mechanics of it. But you have you might have an original tune, and you have to lay it down first to begin to riff on it. And in the same way, if I don't have Superman, iconic James Bond, iconic, you name it, in the medium that will reach the most people, right? So if I have it in the comics, fantastic. If in the movies he's a mopey coward who breaks necks, that's not good. And so you can't say, oh, that's just an Elseworlds version. No. Because to John and Jane Q viewer, general audience, that's Superman now.
Yep.
And unless you set the precedence. So The Boys, I remember when that comic came out, and I remember when The Authority came out and all that stuff, and I thought, okay, I don't like it, but it's okay because over here in DC, they've got Superman. Over here in Marvel, there's Cap. And at the time, nobody thought they were going away. And so I thought, hey, it's a balance. And it's okay as a commentary. And those stories really are designed to remind us. I'm almost certain that I've read, I think Warren Ellis did The Boys, and he maybe did The Authority. Those are designed to kind of remind us that the superhero ideal in the real world, would probably not work, but that we should be looking for something. What is in there that we can make real? And that's the hope, the optimism. What can we do? It really is supposed to remind us of that. It's kind of also a satire, a commentary on in our government today or culture today. This is what would happen to somebody who really wanted to do the right thing or had these powers. But it always points back. Look at the Elite in DC.
Yes, I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
And that's the function of those stories. That's why I can do a vampire Batman or a Batman who still uses guns. It's reminding us of, oh, hey, or Azrael, or I can have 4 different Supermen and I can have one that's evil. It's reminding us of why we need the original one. But if that context is wrong, that's so we have like a cultural black hole now, and that's what we're looking at. And I would even argue, if, as we've said, Disney could have easily done this with Star Wars. If they did Star Wars The Next Generation, they could have done their feminine, if they'd have made her an actual character, because she's not a character. But like, do all the women Jedi you want. Have an entire like tribe of Jedi that are all women. Okay, they'll die out eventually, right? I mean, but well, maybe there's some kind of force, who knows what. But
the Jedi-Zons.
The Jedi-Zons. But establish first that Luke Skywalker's still Luke Skywalker. And as soon as that's there, you can do these other things. But we don't have the foundation anymore, and so that's contributing to how long it's going to be before we get any of these characters.
Yeah. Well, we should probably start wrapping it up now because I do have some work to do tonight and everything like that. But just kind of in closing on any of these topics, any closing thoughts or things you think. I mean, I think at least Famine and I are in agreement that it's nothing's going to change. So there's no like this is what needs to happen here, and then everything will be okay. That we're well beyond that point.
Yeah.
But other than like I said, the public domain idea, just the thing that Famine mentioned too, writing your own stories. At the beginning of the stream, and I started to mention it, but then I got sidetracked, so I didn't finish out. But Horizon. Who was he? Horizon Talker, who was in the chat. I forget the name I'm looking up. But anyway, he said that one of the reasons that a lot of people are just flocking to whatever Hollywood serves up now is because there's nothing else. There are no alternatives. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that's kind of pathetic. I think he's right, but I think that's kind of pathetic that people need a shiny alternative when, as you and I have been saying, there's a world of stuff, whether this is Star Wars EU or all the classic DC heroes. I mean, there's just so much. You do not need the shiny new thing. There's so many things you haven't touched yet that might not be trending on Twitter, but you'll get over it. So, but in terms of providing alternatives, that comes to people writing their own stuff. It's so easy today. I know nothing about making a film, but they're independent filmmakers who can put out stuff today on with the internet and the capability of the technology that's available, and it doesn't look like something that was filmed with a VHS in your backyard. I mean, it looks cool. So I mean, that's one good thing that people can start doing is to what I would say they should have done from the beginning is focus on that, turn your back on Hollywood and do your own stuff, and not just be lining up to swallow whatever they offer.
Well, I wonder if deepfake is going to lead to that. That would be interesting to see if deepfake will allow, because there's some very interesting stuff out there. I showed that to Al. There was, which doesn't really work, but I know what they were going for. They took Chris Reeves' face and they put it on Brandon Routh in some of his scenes from Crisis and Superman Returns. And I thought, okay, so he already looks a lot like Christopher Reeve, but the idea that we could bring Christopher Reeve back, I know that sounds offensive to some people, but I wonder now if that's not the only way we can preserve the characters. And if you would have to get different voice work, but it's pretty amazing what they're doing with that technology there. Deepfake, maybe that's a way outside of, but if you can do something like Star Trek Continues with existing characters, you can do it with an original story too. And I would love to see something like the Orville, which I hate that it's owned by Disney now. Hate that, because there was so much. I had so much hope in that series for science fiction and getting back to optimistic, humanist, positive science fiction, and that's gone. I mean, I'm almost certain that after this season, if they keep making more, Disney is going to really begin to just tweak it to the point where it won't be what we have come to love. I know you're not sold on it, Prof, but it really was the closest we've seen. And so, if we had more people willing to do that, and I don't know. I mean, if I had the money, I would be doing it. I would be making various shows, series, books, but I'm not Seth MacFarlane.
Well, who is?
Who is?
Now, I like I said, I'm very happy being the humble, likable guy who just likes the shows that are out there. I appreciate that I'm wired the way I am, because I don't have all this like anger and resentment at all these companies for doing what they've been doing to certain characters. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want to watch WandaVision, watch it. If you don't. If you want to watch Mandalorian, watch it. If you don't. It's no skin off my nose. But don't. I just don't want somebody telling me that I'm stupid or ignorant or whatever because I do enjoy it. So that's all I gotta say.
You don't have the logical thing that we've been talking about. You're not saying this is horrible what they did. We need to fight against it.
Yeah,
and giving them more money is a way to fight again. No, you're not. You're not in that boat.
No, and I'm glad I'm not in that boat because we all know what happens to some boats when hit an iceberg and they go down. No, I'm just, it just I don't know. I just like I said, I get it. I know why a lot of people are angry, but I look at myself and I'm like, well, I'm not going to deprive myself of something I might actually like because Disney's doing it or DC's doing it or the MCU has had a bad movie. It's like I'm not going to not watch Star Trek because they had Spock's brain. I mean, one or two bad decisions or cat's paw. I mean, not all of Star Trek is great, but I'm not going to toss out the baby with the bathwater.
I do want to say that because you brought up an interesting point there that is something I realized, I think the end of last year or over the course of last year, is that I'm really not angry anymore at the companies. I'm really not. Mm-hmm. I used to, and look, like somebody like Zack Snyder, yeah, or David Goyder, absolutely. But at the same time, even those guys, I can't have a whole lot of, I don't like them personally. I don't like what they've done. But at the end of the day, who keeps them in business isn't even their corporate bosses or the studios. It's people that are buying their product. And that's who my anger and ire now is for those people who are sellouts. And that's why, and I know you want to shy away from it, but I'm perfectly, I call it the fandom mehness on Twitter, MEHNACE, because so many people that I really respected when all this happened sold out. And I blame them. I blame the guy on Twitter I went back and forth with before either he or I blocked. We may have blocked each other. Who kept saying, "I know." He said, "I know this is bad." This was New 52 Superman we're talking about. I know it's bad. I still have to buy it. I'm like, you are the problem, and that's who I'm really the most angry with. It's not because the studios can only really do. Of course, you have exceptions like the CW, but it's people who say they care and they just keep showing they really don't, and that's where my anger is primarily these days.
Yeah, that's what my first point of the stream was. It is frustrating because you're not going to get the change you want, or even the change that some of those people say they want because of the actions that they're the way they're going about it. Yeah, it doesn't. Hollywood doesn't work like a logical beast, logical entity, logical business. I am, but like watching that old stuff. Like I'm gonna get off here now in a few minutes, and I got schoolwork to do definitely. But I've been watching a little bit of pull up my old Babylon 5 DVDs and been watching some of those again. If I want something to watch, I mean I got plenty of Star Wars stuff I'm reading and everything like that when I have a free chance and stuff like that. But I mean we've got so much good stuff out there, and it doesn't work to read this because I can't go tweet about it or something and have a bunch of people engage with it. I just don't understand that need at all. But
I mean, my go-to for when I really want to just like watch something I enjoy. I have my go-tos, which not a geeky thing, but there is a lot of good stuff out there, and there's good new stuff out there. Like I said, Cobra Kai. If you really want a good nostalgia shot with excellent writing, you got something like Cobra Kai.
The only reason I don't talk about that is just because
just doesn't interest you.
Yeah, that's just Karate Kid to me. Yeah, I like the first Karate Kid movie, but it was just never. It's not something that I'm really geeking out about. So I'm not against Cobra Kai just because I don't talk about it. I just.
But yeah, there are things out there. You just have to find something, and you got to give it a chance. Like I said, just because Disney made it doesn't mean it's not going to be good.
It's not just about Disney making it. No, it's about being in the continuity that's a deal breaker for you.
Mm-hmm.
And see, no, that's not a deal. I don't have deal. I don't like deal breakers.
That's not a deal breaker for you. I know. But I just want to clarify that because it's not like, oh, if Disney puts out a new movie, oh, nope, it's Disney, I won't touch it. No, it's about, building on this continuity or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's the issue for me. But in terms of what we do provide, at least in content via YouTube, one of the things I've been doing with my channel this year too, especially is really focusing on aspirational heroes. So I do need to get out another aspirational recommendation because people really like my recommendation to Huck that I put out, a few weeks ago. So I will do more of that. But every Thursday, we're doing book studies of the EU, trying to open that up to people and lead people through it and stuff like that. So we are going to be continuing our book study of Kenobi on Thursday nights. And I'll continue doing, critiques, but also recommendations and stuff like that. Do you know? Are you prepared to announce what's coming on with your channel and stuff like that, Fan Man?
Yeah, the Second Cup Cafe is now on Wednesdays and Fridays for those who maybe haven't checked that out. It's also going to be a podcast that's available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that.
Is it on the same day now? Did you figure that out, or
what's that?
Is it released the same day, or have you figured that out yet?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I recorded on my software, and then I just upload the episode, which I didn't put up today's yet. But that comes out, so those that miss it live can listen that way. And then on the 19th of February, which is in 2 weeks, I will be bringing back the Friday night show. I think Big Al has said, after talking with his lawyers and team, he's there. I think we're still working on yours. I'll
be there the 19th.
You what's that?
I'll be there the 19th. I can't automatically be there every Friday, but I'll be there for
you'll be there. Awesome. All right, so that's good there. So I don't have to have that conversation with your lawyers that I've been. I can stop having to email those people. But we. Oh, go ahead.
I'm pretty, like I said, I told my lawyers, as long as he keeps me supplied in M&Ms, I'm all right.
Well, there you go. I've got tons of those. They're my kids, but you can have as many as you want. I wish that M&M's wouldn't have gotten rid of that hazelnut cream. I loved it, but they didn't care what Fan Man wanted. And the show will be different because it really won't be. It will be similar to what Fan Man Tonight was. The difference really is going to be that I have no interest anymore in talking about. It's kind of like what you were saying there, Prof. That the geek news, I really would rather focus on the stuff that we love versus the stuff that's currently happening. And so what I want to do with that show on Friday nights is just kind of make it back when we used to be able to just all get together and talk about stuff we enjoyed. Remember the glory days when that all this stuff hadn't happened yet? So you would say, hey, the latest episode of blank came out. What'd you think? And we could argue and disagree, but it wasn't that it was fundamentally changed from
deal breaking. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm hoping that show will be. It'll be a fun hangout. And
Mondays after the X-Files were on.
Yeah, that's right. Which I never had anybody to talk about that with. I was one of the first people in my small town that actually discovered that show. I remember watching the first episode alone in my parents' bedroom because they were in the living room. And I said, hey, do y'all want to watch this? It was on a Friday night at first. And they're like, we're watching Dallas or Falcons Crest. And I thought, you're losers. So, but I had nobody to talk to about that because everybody else was like, oh, this is the football game. Well, you're a loser too. I was making out with a girl. And I was like, yeah, but I was watching a really cool show where they like dug up bodies and they turned out to be alien bodies, and then there's a hot redhead in it. So you might think it's a real girl, but who's the real winner? Me, lonely here.
Well, I just want to take this opportunity to brag that the beautiful and talented sound engraver in the chat, every single one of our dates is not complete if we haven't watched He-Man. So just saying, just throwing that out there.
Now you mean the TV show, because we all know you are her He-Man, don't we? Oh,
exactly.
Exactly. That's why you have. You remember the episode of Seinfeld where he's dating the woman? He's like, I think she might have a closet like Superman. She has multiples of the same dress. And
oh yeah.
He finds that she does, and I think that at the Professor Geek lair, he's got a closet full of black T-shirts that accentuate his biceps.
I do have a lot of those V-neck black T-shirts. I find a shirt that I like to wear, and I buy.
Oh my god, it's like Simon Cowell with his little white shirts.
Hey, I don't do baby Gap shopping now. That was weird. But no, I do. Yeah. It's like Wayne's World or Ernest. You look in their closet and it's just a bunch of the same thing. I find something I'm comfortable with, and that's just what I stick with.
I do that too. I'm just giving you a hard time because I remember when you used to do for a while your live streams. I would just notice you were flexing. Let me look at my watch to see what time it is.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, I know. I'm picking on you, but it was funny, and so
Prof is my He-Man. It's true.
Somebody help me. I'm getting diabetes. Wilford Brimley, where are you? I'm getting romantic diabetes. Hey, can I recommend to you and your lady there? Lady, you're my knight in shining armor. Or I am, and I love you. Little serenade for you there. If you need me to serenade your girl, I'd be glad to for a small fee. But you need to watch the Peanut Butter Falcon. And it's a great talk about inspirational, positive types of films that can be made without preachy and all that nonsense. It's really great. You know who's in it? Al and I have seen it and agree. Shia LaBeouf does a phenomenal job. And you got what's his name there? John Bernthal is in it briefly as well.
Huh.
And it's a really good flick. And if you know anybody that is perhaps certainly the main character in the film, the actor who portrays him has Down syndrome and plays a character who does a beautiful job. I mean, I read an interview saying how his career, he's going to be one of the first actors with Down syndrome to have the opportunities he has because of this movie. And it's beautiful. I mean, we watched it as a family, and I thought this is the kind of filmmaking Hollywood could be doing. Of course, it's a little independent, film. But it's the kind of filmmaking Hollywood could do, where they do show you people who are, they want to say, oh, well, these people are different. We need to focus on them. Well, no, these are people who have some differences, but it's not tokenism. It's showing their life, and I loved it.
I did too.
You did too, right?
I can't recommend it highly. Mm-hmm. And Fan Man suggested it, and I found it, and I was like, well, I didn't have a chance to watch it then. I just kind of tucked it away. And then when I had my little Wi-Fi outage, I was like, well, you know what? I got time to watch it. Click, and I was like, this is awesome. I was just a beautiful movie.
I was amazed that it was made in the 21st century. I really in this current climate. How did this get made? Yeah. So,
well, I'm gonna have to wrap this up now. The problem is, it's so much fun when the three of us get together and the time just flies by. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost midnight. I need to. Wow, my night's gotten away. But it's so much fun doing this. So no, Office Hours isn't back in terms of a weekly thing or anything like that. I don't want my channel to be a news commentary channel. It was kind of getting like that at one point. That's just never been the main focus of my channel. But I do really like doing these every now and then, and especially with the three of us will be on Fan Man. Did you say what the show's going to be called, or do you not quite know what the show's going to be called?
I haven't settled on a name. Still working on the name. Yeah.
So that so that's happening over there on 19th. But yeah, we'll come back and do specials like this occasionally here too. So
absolutely,
we're good. And then Al, of course, still has his Saturday night rewatches, movies and stuff like that, which I think they're over on Netter's channel this Friday with 300. But
tomorrow night on Netter's 300, and the next one for Big Al Presents is the Valentine's Eve rewatch, watching the Russian fantasy film I Am Dragon, or also called He's a Dragon.
And I'll be continuing my Knights of the Old Republic game playthroughs at some point this weekend. So trying to give people that story. So yeah, any last thoughts before I click the off air button?
Just remember that it's cool if you don't care about the Super Bowl. I just want to encourage you. Who cares? You don't have to care. Don't be a drone, because really, who gives a crap? That's all
I didn't even know that was this weekend until earlier today. So
yeah, I didn't either until I saw a news story last night. I was like, oh, great.
Well, I knew it was coming, I'm vaguely there's a few stories I think that are interesting within the game, but beyond that, I really don't care. I don't care who's doing the halftime show or anything like that. I'm just going to try to find something to watch somewhere else on when it's on. I don't know. I gotta go through my my channel guide.
Well, yeah, there's that, folks. So until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, football's the one with the oblong ball there, Professor.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Yeah.